Here we go. Recording in three, two, and one.
We are gonna get geeky as fuck.
Yeah, because that never happens. Welcome to episode 220 of Nerdery Murdering.
Big 220, baby. I'm Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Jeffrey with your Murdery. Welcome to another week of the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the good and the bad, and the nerd and the murd. For those of you listening to this the day it comes out, this is Halloween week. So
Halloween.
I do have a it's not a Halloween story, but it's a scary story. Um, so I'll be covering that when we get to my part of the show. I wanted to give a big shout out. I gave a shout out on the Prime Numbers Facebook page. But we had a hardware store here where I live. I think I've heard that the building has been around for 100 years.
Oh, nice.
But called Johnny's True Value. And just a few weeks ago, in the early pre-dawn hours, it burnt to the ground.
Oh
Um, yeah,
no.
yeah. So I mean, owners out of money, people out of work, just tragic. Well, there's a pizza place. Actually, excuse me. There's an Italian place down here. They do specialize in pizza, but they have Italian as well, called Stefano's that I took Zig to when he came down here.
Oh,
Uh,
super good. Super
Stefano's
good.
Stefano's Brooklyn Pizza. They're really, really good. Well, several years ago, their building burnt to the ground. And for a few years, they were operating out of a side area of a gas station, still doing their pizza and everything like that while they rebuilt and everything like that. And they now have their new building. It's beautiful. The food is great. Well, in response to Johnny's burning to the ground, Stefano's took 2 days and all of their profits went to or proceed. I don't know if it was all their profits, but proceeds from those 2 days of sales went to Johnny's to
Nice.
help them rebuild. Because I mean, there are people that are out of work now because of this
Yeah.
and everything. Um, and I wanted to highlight them. Normally on something like this, I'm like, I'd be like, "Hey, do you want to sponsor us?" No, I don't. I don't want them to sponsor us. I want to give them these props for complete free because Stefano's doing this was amazing. I went there their second night of this out is this donations they were doing, however you want to say it, outpouring, to get to go to bring home. And there were reports on Facebook that they were completely out of dough, that they couldn't make pizzas, but they
Shit.
were making. It's not true. When I went in, they were still making pizzas. As a matter of fact, their phones were ringing off the hook. There was a line out the door of the to-go place. People crowded in the to-go
And that
lobby
place
where
is not small.
no.
Stefano's is
Well,
huge.
and I'm talking just the to-go place. The restaurant's piece of it, which you have seen, was
Hmm.
packed.
Hmm.
There were cars circling the parking lot waiting for a place to park. And they were this way for 2 days. When I walked in the to go, they take the receipt of their upcoming orders and they tape it to the counter and they, as they're going
Hmm.
along, make sure they fill it. There had to be at least 50 receipts taped to the counter
Damn.
and people still walking in and people still calling. And I mean, it was a madhouse, but it was incredible the community outpouring to support a local business. And big props to Stefanos for doing that. Big
Yeah.
props.
Plus, their food is damn good.
Their
And
food is
cheap
really
ass
damn good.
wine. Their wine is so cheap and it's so good.
Yeah, I think you and Keith got a $10 bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we killed that son of a bitch too.
so just wanted to give them a shout out because, and like I said, I gave them a shout out on the Prime Numbers Facebook page, because I just think it's amazing that they did this, as part of the community, as part of local business support, supporting a local business, that they did this for Johnny's True Value. So it was a great job, Stefanos. Anybody that comes down to the Rio Grande Valley, please look up Stefanos, Brooklyn Pizza. Go eat there. They're amazing people. Their food is amazing
Hmm.
and awesome. Great job, Stefanos.
Way to go,
Um,
Savanas.
going into our nerdery TV watching, because I talk about this all the time. We finally finished all four seasons of Jack Ryan. That was
Hmm.
really good. What's his name? That plays Jack Ryan. Why have I lost the guy
The
from The
big
Office?
guy.
Yeah, from The Office. I've completely lost his name right now. But he was so good in it. I love the actor who played James Greer. I've seen him in many things, including The Wire, which he was brilliant in. If you haven't seen The Wire, please watch it and understand. If you see The Wire, season two is a little disjointed, but the other seasons are brilliant. And that actor, I think his name is Wendell Davis. I think that's that actor's name. Uh, Krivosky?
Wendell
Krivosky.
Davis.
No, not
He,
Wendell Davis. I was just thinking Jack Ryan. I could look it up. But anyway, the guy from The Office played Jack Ryan. Great, great show. Very engaging. I loved it. Loved every second of it. We did start the agency Central Intelligence,
hmm
which is also a really good show. It's got Michael Fassbender, Richard Gere, the great Jeffrey Wright, not just because he shares my name. I think he's a brilliant actor. Um, which we had talked about in the James Bond episodes
hmm
because he played in a couple of the Daniel Craig James Bond. He's in it. If you decide to pick up the Agency Central Intelligence, it's a spy thriller, which I love. Understand, just get past episode one.
hmm
Just just power through it because episode one, we were sitting there going like, oh my God, I don't know that I can take this show. It's so slow. Come on, let's move. Then in episode two, it just picks up and just goes. Fassbender is a great actor. I loved him in the X-Men. Wasn't he in was he in Oppenheimer? Was that
Michael
him in Oppenheimer?
Fassbender.
Was that Fassbender in Oppenheimer, or am I thinking the other one where he did the code breaker?
Yeah, I don't remember Fassbender being in Oppenheimer.
Maybe he wasn't. I may be thinking of the code breaker
There was a
one.
big ass cast though.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But I would give the agency Central Intelligence. It's on Paramount Plus. That streaming service does a lot of good shows.
Paramount Plus. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love Paramount Plus. Plus, you got all the
yeah,
Star Treks.
yeah. Um, so such good show, and they seem to be very well embedded with MTV Productions.
Yeah,
That's a lot of their shows too, and that's just amazing. MTV has gone from videos to all the other crap they put out, and now
yeah, yeah.
producing these TV shows, which is great. But give that a shot. I do recommend it. Just power through the first episode.
I wish MTV would do a music. And then there for a while, they brought a music channel back, and then it's not on anymore. I
I,
wish they would do something like that for the Paramount streaming.
I miss the MTV Behind the Music.
Oh,
I don't.
they've brought that back. That
Did
is on
they?
Paramount. Yes.
Okay, I need to check that out because I loved Behind the Music, especially the Alice Cooper one was great. The Motley Crue one was great. Those are the two I really remember that were just brilliant. I loved those. They were awesome to watch. Um, so yeah. You got anything? Are you ready to step over to the nerdy side of the house?
I am really ready to talk about Modiphius.
Go for it.
Modiphius. And I hope I'm saying it right. Modiphius Entertainment is a tabletop role-playing game and board game publisher. They are based in Fulham in London, and it's known for licensed adaptations of established media. Notable titles include Star Trek Adventures, Fallout, the role-playing game, Dune, Adventures of the Imperium, Terry Pratchett's Discworld, Adventures in Ankh-Morpork, and the
Wow.
Mass Effect board game. Ankh-Morpork. Yeah, I think that's
Wow.
right. Yeah, Modiphius was founded in 2012, so this is kind of a new company. The husband and wife team, Rita and Chris Birch, published their first game, Octoon Cthulhu. The company have since published a number of product lines based on independent licenses and established brands. They use a 2D20 system. How that plays out, you add two numbers and roll at least 2d20. Anything under those two numbers is one success, but anything under your focus, that is two successes. In Star Trek, that focus is equal to your discipline number, but the roll has to relate to one of your six focuses. In Conan Infinity, and the focus is a separate number you purchase for a particular skill, and is generally much lower than Star Trek or John Carter. Um, it's dynamic. It's a narrative system designed to produce varied and interesting results from dramatic and action-packed situations. Characters roll two d20s, attempting to roll as low as possible on each one. The more dice that roll low, the more successes the character shows. Tasks will require one or more successes to be successful. As I said, we're going to get geeky on this one. And any successes scored beyond that minimum become momentum, which can be spent to achieve a variety of advan- advantageous effects. So it's like a Benny in some of the games we've used, a benefit.
Like
However,
Firefly or
yeah,
Serenity, whatever the
yeah.
name of that role-playing game was.
This could come at a cost. Characters who wish to succeed can push their luck, rolling extra d20s to boost their chances of success and the momentum they generate. However, each extra d20 comes from the character's resources, such as stocks of arrows, or adds to a pool of doom that represents all things that can go wrong in an adventure. In Octoon Cthulhu, that can fuck you, kids. So keep that in mind if you decide to play this bad boy. Uh, um, which the GM can spin to complicate adventures and scenarios and make the characters' lives interesting. So, how this all started, they decided they were going to make a game, and they published a Kickstarter in 2012. The Kickstarter didn't kick off till early 2013. They were able to raise £177,000. Again, it's an English company, so that's like $250,000, I think, if my calculation is correct. Through
Good enough.
Kickstarter to Kickstarter to create Octoon Cthulhu, a tabletop RPG set in Second World War, inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft. The first series of adventures for Octoon Cthulhu is called Zero Point, with the first two chapters called Three Kings and Heroes of the Sea by Sarah Newton. The game was well received in the RPG community and won several awards, including Best Role Playing Game at the 2014 UK Games Expo. And in 2018, a video game based on the franchise called Octoon Cthulhu Tactics was released by Arc Digital.
Did we play this one?
No, no,
We
we've
because
played.
Don ran one that was set in World War II.
Yeah, yeah. It was based on that other. We've talked about it before. Not Fate, the other one.
Oh no, I think it was Fate.
Savage. Was it Fate or
Oh no,
Savage Worlds?
Savage World,
Yeah,
Savage World. You're
Savage
right.
Worlds.
You're right.
Which we've actually done episodes on, but it was a
Yes,
long time ago.
you're right.
Um, and in 2013, while they were rolling out Cthulhu, they released the third edition of popular post-apocalyptic RPG Mutant Chronicles. Uh, Mutant Chronicles is a pen and paper role-playing game set in a post-apocalyptic world, originally published in 1993. It has spawned a franchise of collectible card games, miniature war games, video games, novels, comic books, and a film of the same title based on the game world. Mutant Chronicles also has a board game
Yep.
with little cardboard minis with little plastic feet you put on them, which is incredible. I want to say the board game came out first, but
I
I didn't
think
see
so.
that in the notes.
The board game's pretty old. Don was the only one I knew that had a copy of Mutant Chronicles,
Hmm.
and we loved to play Mutant Chronicle. Mutant
Yes.
Chronicles, it's a cooperative
Yeah.
game,
And
and you've got to be
you've got these little tiles where you can level up your hero as you
mm-hmm.
go.
Mm-hmm. It's so much fun. I have had fun every single time I played Mutant Chronicles.
Yeah, but they I don't know if they're reproducing the board game, but I do know that they reproduced the RPG, which is also really good.
I'm about to look it up. I think they reproduced the board game.
Yeah, Mutant Chronicles was developed by the Swedish company Target Games as an independent spinoff of the Mutant RPG series, specifically Mutant RYMD, released the year before 1992. That sounds right. Unlike previous Swedish role-playing games, Mutant Chronicles was released in English and focused on reaching an international audience. The rights to the game are now owned by Paradox Entertainment. In 2015, Cabinet Holdings acquired Paradox and all subsidiaries, their properties, including the Mutant Chronicles. Um, in 2017, so while they're doing the Mutant Chronicles and Octoon Cthulhu, They acquired the license for Bethesda property of Fallout. And in 2018 released Fallout Wasteland Warfare, a tabletop war game featuring characters and settings for the video game series. The company announced in 2019 that they would be working on an RPG expansion to Fallout Wasteland Warfare to be released the same year. And they did. Modiphius developed the Fallout tabletop RPG using, again, that 2D20 system called Fallout the Role Playing Game. The game entered beta in 2019 with a projected release in 2020, but the delay due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Fallout the Role Playing Game released digitally in March of 2021 and a physical release in July of that same year. Um, so let's just talk about some of their 2D20 RPGs. Dreams and Machines, Octoon Cthulhu, Dune Adventures in the Imperium, Fallout 2D20, Star Trek Adventures, Cohorts of Cthulhu, Dishonored, Homeworld, Infinity, and John Carter of Mars. The John Carter of Mars game not only has a really cool RPG with specialized dice that you can also buy. Um, they've got really, really cool character sheets that are free and you can print off from their website. The RPG is really pretty. They also have minis to go along with it and maps that you can buy, boxes of maps, full color. You've got little cards and character tokens that you can place in front of you. And again, with these minis, and these minis are highly detailed. Now, I know a lot of people who are playing role playing games believe that minis are a big part of the process, and I get that. We never did it so much using the minis. Like we would get like we'd get little icons, or sometimes Don would print off little cardboard guys, and we'd use them, just basically to show where we were on the map. Mostly, we use dry erase markers and a dry erase board. Um, to this day, that's kind of the big takeaway for how we've used role playing games. And we used the Roll20 for a while, where we had like a digital minis, which
Hmm.
was nice. But these guys are really heavily into the minis, and they also do role playing games as well, or war games as well. They've got Battle Space, Bricks Wars, Cohorts, Cthulhu, Tactics, Country Road Z, Fallout Factions, Fallout Wasteland Warfare, which we said. There is an Elder Scrolls war game where you can get minis and set them up. 5 parsecs from home, 5 leagues from the borderlands. Hard War, Mythic Commanders, Rangers of Shadow Deep, and of course, Octoon Cthulhu Skirmishes. Some of their board games include Agatha Christie's Death of the Cards, the Mass Effect board game, a Skyrim adventure game, um, Airfix Battles, which is small steampunk balloons and airplanes, Dark Deeds, Escape from Stalingrad Z, Homeworld Fleet Commanders, Paranoia, the uncooperative board game, Star Trek Lower Decks, Buffer Time, the card game, and Tales from the Loop, the board game. So they really got into different properties. I would like to talk about some of their RPGs. In 2017, the company released their first edition of Star Trek Adventures, an RPG series based on the television series Star Trek. And in 2024, the company released the Quick Start Guide for the second edition of Star Trek Adventures as a free PDF. The full core rules for the second edition released in August of 2024 at Gen Con. It is also a 2D20 system. While that was going on, in May 2021, Modiphius released Dune Adventures in the Imperium based on the Dune franchise. It won a Gold Annie Award for Best Writing within a writing team, including Banana Chan. It was also nominated for Product of the Year. Modiphius announced an upcoming sequel, Fall of the Imperium, in 2024. Uh,
I'm so sorry. I've been following along as you're talking. I'm listening to all it, but I just this floored me when I found it because I had to look up Mutant Chronicles, the board game. It was the Siege of the Citadel, is what it
Siege of the
was.
Citadel. Thank you.
I just found one on eBay
Uh huh.
that is complete, all bags sealed, cards are sealed, and cardboard unpunched.
Oh,
I want it.
how much is it?
$200.
Oh, goddamn.
I want it.
Shit, when Don bought that some bitch, it was like in a bargain bin, if I remember correctly. He was
There's
like, "Oh,
some
this looks cool."
Yeah, there's some bargain bin ones out here. Here's one for like 50, but it doesn't guarantee that it's complete.
Hmm. And there are
Um,
a lot of little cardboard pieces. You have to put little pieces together um, to make the Citadel. And again, you get the little plastic ridges that you stick the cardboard into. I
uh,
could see
here's
how that
here, here's one for 150 that has never
complete.
been played. Yeah, it's complete.
Nice.
Huh.
But yeah, there are different scenarios in that game. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't mind playing the RPG either.
I need to put this on my Christmas list.
It's eBay.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it's true.
in February of 2024, also at the same time that we're releasing the Dune Fall of the Imperium, Modiphius acquired the license to produce Terry Pratchett's Discworld. Adventures in Ankh-Morpork. Modiphius launched a Kickstarter campaign to fund the project in October 2024. They are in production as we speak. Also in 2024, Modiphius announced pre-orders for the Mass Effect board game. In 2014, the company released Thunderbirds, a cooperative board game designed by Matt Leacock based on the British children's TV show Thunderbirds. And in 2015, the company announced a licensing deal with Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian property with the publication of a role-playing game, Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed of, and an ongoing line of supplements in that setting. They also have the Conan game. In 2018, the company announced they would be working with DreamWorks Studios to produce a board game based on the children's film Kung Fu Panda. I don't think they've released that yet. And of course, the John Carter Mars role playing system, which they are releasing stuff for, it looks really pretty. In 2022, they collaborated with Sean Tompkins, Iron Sworn creator, to publish a deluxe edition of its sci-fi supplement, Starforged. They also have plenty of free PDFs too. They really want to get people into the stuff like the Star Trek Adventures, the core rule book. You can
Hmm.
download that as a PDF for nothing. Just play it. They've got some other Star Trek Adventures you can download for nothing to play it. Um, and of course, plenty of character sheets you can download to print off for your character sheets. They're really good about stuff like this. I worry when I see stuff like this because I'm worried that they're gonna have trouble making money. But apparently I'm wrong because they're doing pretty well right now. Um, like Octoon Cthulhu, the base book, uh, is is uh is like $40, but you can buy the PDF for like $8, and then get a whole bunch of free supplements for it. Um, so it's yeah, the PDFs, they're still making money off of it. There's like a starter pack for $6 you can buy as well. And they're really easy to use website with lots of pretty pictures and things you can download. So they're they're trying to keep it um they're trying to keep it as low cost as possible and still make a profit, and they seem to be doing quite well. They also have deals with some other games. Black Cats Gaming, Ian Publishing, Fabula Ultimate, Five Leagues of the Borderlands, Five Parsecs from Home, Fragged Empire, um, which is part of the old Fragged game.
Really?
Which yeah,
I love to brag.
yeah, but it's the RPG,
Ah,
not just the card game. But they do, like you can go in and get some of the old Fragged stuff. They got PDFs for fairly cheap, but if you want a solid copy, there's some shipping costs involved. They're not as cheap as they were back in the 90s, but what is um, Freeway Warrior, um, which is, I think Dom was playing that for a while. You've got these you've got these character sheets, and it's an RPG, but you also take like Hot Wheels cars and modify them, and that's what you use as your little icon to move around the board. So
mm,
it's kind of a do-it-yourself kind of deal. That's a lot of fun. There is a Stargate SG-1 RPG, which I wouldn't mind playing. Mindjammer Press. It would probably take me a Wilder Feast, which is also cool. It would probably take me a little while getting used to that 2D20 because rolling low seems really foreign to me. But I
Yeah,
mean, you are just as capable of rolling a one as you are a 20 on a 2D20 or a 20-sided dice. So there's no difference in it. It just in my brain, it
mentally,
seems
yeah. We're
yeah,
used to having to roll high.
yeah. I think that would probably tick my brain off a little bit. But the fact that you roll two and you get to take the lowest one, that seems like that would roll pretty quickly, and it also seems like you would be able to resolve combat a little quicker, so you can be in combat a little longer, which
Yeah,
is
that was one of the things back when we experimented with the Star Wars role-playing game that was so
yeah,
difficult, is combat was so
yeah,
long.
yeah. That's the thing. You
Um,
don't you don't necessarily want the combat. If it's a long combat, that's fine, but you don't want the combat to be long.
and
Be
boring.
Yeah, because of the rule set.
Right,
But I'm
right.
thinking these 2D20s look like they resolve pretty fast. And
Yeah.
you go,
A
okay, I'm
long
going to do
a
this and
long
this.
battle is absolutely fine as long as you've got continual action that you're
Yeah,
doing, but when everything is slowed down because
because you're going, okay, I got this and this. This is
yes,
this, and everybody. It takes 5 minutes for everybody to do their thing. That's not what you want.
yeah, I mean the game overall was fun because we were
Yeah,
in the Star Wars universe, and I think they have changed
yeah.
the
Because
system
originally
up
that
since then.
Star Wars was a like a D6, and then it switched to a D20, and I
I
think the
believe so.
D20 is better. I may have
I
that
can't
in
remember.
reversed,
Yeah, I
but the
can't
newer version
remember.
of it's better.
I think yeah, the newer version is better. I've heard that it moved along better.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'm not disparaging anything Star Wars here.
Yeah.
Just the rule set that we were playing under, it would drag. It would drag.
Um. Oh, here's an interesting one: Cogs, cakes, and sword sticks. Uh, which they're one of the ones. It's an adventure game. Um, and it uses all D6 stuff. Um, it just looks like a fun little game. It's like a steampunk game. It looks like a it looks like a lot of goofiness, which sometimes you want a goofy game. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Modiphius is one of those companies that I think is bringing back the geekdom. Because for a long time, a lot of these companies were having trouble. You know, when we were playing them back in the 80s and the 90s, a lot of the stuff went away, and it seems like in the last 15 years, a lot of the stuff's been making a comeback. And people are more interested in playing board games at home and RPGs, and in no small part to D&D being, I think, more accepted by the general public. People realize the quality behind it, of you get to be with your friends, you get to basically play pretend, you get to improve your math skills, um, and the cooperative nature of a lot of that stuff because you are working on a goal together.
They have virtual
People really
tabletop
seem to be
games
getting into
too.
it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, K3 plays a has a weekly gaming group they play with every week, and they have a rotating GMs, and each one of them is playing a different system. They just do it virtually, over, oh, what is the video gaming platform where everybody talks? The chat.
Well, I mean, there's Roll 20. There's that wasn't
Twitch. Twitch.
Twitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they do it over Twitch, and I think they've all bought like components so they could do the rolling for them because they don't use physical dice. But I think they
Miranda
got it through.
Miranda used to do a lot of virtual ones. I think her D&D sessions are now in person where
Hmm.
she's living. But yeah, for quite a long time she was doing it online. And then we did it online too.
Yeah,
We roll
for
20,
about
roll
yeah
20.
6 months to a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's about it for Modiphius. Kids, go out there and check them out. Go to their website. It should be linked in our link page. Just check out all the cool stuff they've got. If nothing else, buy some of the minis for John Carter Mars because they're just really nice. Really, really nice. And they're not that expensive. Again, their core rule books are a little more expensive than some of the PDFs that you get. The PDFs are super cheap, or in some cases free. But the big shiny core rule books are 40, $50. But then again, most of your core rule books now are about 40, $50, so it's not uncommon. And they'll ship them right to your house. Good stuff. Check them out at your local comic book shops as well, because they're supporting they're
You,
in stores.
it was funny. Keith and I both follow a Starfleet Battles uh, group page, whatever, on Facebook.
Hmm.
And I've loved watching it because I mean they're diving into the old stuff as well as the newer stuff that was released and everything. But it was funny because you talk about people our age and doing this stuff. I I saw a post, I don't know, yesterday or just this morning of a big group that was playing a Starfleet Battles game, I think at a Vegas convention.
Holy shit.
And what was so funny is all the guys in the picture
Hmm.
were old fuckers like us.
Young people aren't playing Starfleet battles.
Which is sad because Starfleet Battles was a great strategy game.
Yes.
It was complicated. It was very complicated because, I mean, it had rule books and rule books and rule books and, you
Tables
know,
on top of tables.
oh, sure. And you had to know those rules inside and out if you really wanted to be a good competitor in the game because there were little nuances of things that you needed to know about how starships operate in order to do the things you need to do, in order to fire the weapons effectively and to power your ship and to your shields and do repairs and shuttles and minesweepers and mines and transport. I mean, all of it. It all came into play in Starfleet Battles. It was big, all huge, thick rule book, so many expansions. But it was just, I'm sorry, I trailed off. It was just funny that all the people in that picture were old people like us, which I thought was great.
Well,
So
thanks for geeking out with me on that.
absolutely, absolutely,
But I always
I
want to
love
shout
stuff
out
like
a
that.
yeah, I always want to shout out an RPG and board game company that's doing pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I need to figure it out. I need that Mutant Chronicles game. I've always wanted to have my own copy. Now that I'm seeing it, I'm sitting here going,
Who are you gonna play it with?
I don't know, somebody.
You need to find some geeks down there, man, to play with.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, once a
Um,
month game.
I think I'm probably get my friend Billy into some of these games.
Okay.
I think Billy would play some of these with us, but I don't know. I just want to have a copy because I honestly, Mutant Chronicles, I think is a beautiful game.
It is. It's really
And I
pretty.
just like to have it. So anyway,
Yeah.
thanks for that. I appreciate that. I love walks through this. I love geeking out on role playing games. They're or on board games, role playing games, strategy games. I love all those. That's awesome. So with that, we'll step over to the murdery side of the house.
Murder.
For today, I got my information off All That's Interesting, The Wrap, The New York Times, Biography, How Stuff Works. And again, I said this is not a Halloween killing, but it is a horror story. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the real life Amityville horror.
Yeah.
Many people have seen the movie over the years. Some people realize that there's real truth behind what happened, that there was a real story that happened behind the movie. Granted, the movie took a lot of liberties, but some of it is based in truth on what actually happened. Some of it is very speculative on what exactly happened. But the Amityville horror movie was based off true events.
Mm-hmm.
So the house that came to be known as the horror house in the wake of the actual murders, and then the Amityville horror house after the 1979 movie refers to a large three-story Dutch colonial home at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. It was first built in 1927 and has gone through several renovations and sales since it was constructed. Publicly, the address was changed to 108 Ocean Avenue to deter the influx of tourists trying to find the residence. In 2016, the Wrap reported that it was sold for $850,000.
Hmm.
Per the story, the property was built on top of a rock burial ground, and one of its previous owners, John Ketchum, was an avowed satanic worshiper. In the early morning hours on November 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed his entire family in cold blood and claimed that demonic voices told him to do it. This would captivate audiences for decades in the Amityville horror movie.
Hmm.
The movie itself is about a family that is forced to flee after just a month. The film has inspired many people to seek out the real Long Island home. Um, but really, what's often lost in the shuffle is that there was a true brutal crime, which supposedly made the house haunted.
Yes.
Um, so again, we're back in November 1974. A 23-year-old man named Ronald DeFeo Jr. fatally shot his parents and his four younger siblings while they were asleep in their home in Amityville. Hours after murdering them, DeFeo went to a nearby bar crying for help. He initially claimed to the police that the murders had likely been a mob hit, and his act was apparently so convincing that he was taken to a local station for protection.
Hmm.
However, cracks formed in his story before long, and by the next day, he had already confessed to killing the family himself. However, the case was far from over. When DeFeo went on trial, his lawyer built the case that he was insane, and he became a killer because of demonic voices in his head. About a year after the slaughter, a new family moved in the home where the murders took place, and they fled the residence after just 28 days, claiming it was haunted.
Yes.
Um, and although the crime has often been an afterthought throughout the years because of the popularity of the Amityville horror movie, it's really more horrifying than anything Hollywood could have dreamed up. On the outside, the DeFeos appeared to live happy lives on Long Island during the 70s. According to the New York Times, one of their neighbors described them as a quote, nice, normal family. The family was composed of Ronald DeFeo Sr., Louise DeFeo, and their five children, Ronald Jr., Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew. This was an affluent part of Long Island called Amityville. Their Dutch colonial home had a swimming pool and a nearby boat dock. Inside the house itself, there were life-size portraits of the family, which were on the walls. One local girl told the Times that Ronald DeFeo Sr. had frequently given her rides to the family's restaurant in Brooklyn. Another neighbor named Kathleen O'Reilly said the DeFeos had befriended her after her husband passed away. And by the outside, it seemed like the family was very kind, loving people. There was nothing that was telling people that something bad could happen in here. But behind closed doors, it was a very different family. Ronald DeFeo Sr. managed an auto dealership and was having problems supporting their lavish lifestyle.
Hmm.
So they had a lot of their money that came from Louise's father, Michael Brigante, who purchased the home for them, allowing them to move out of their small Brooklyn apartment. Brigante later gave his son-in-law about $50,000 to have the family portraits painted. $50,000 in the 70s to
Uh-huh.
have these life-size portraits made.
Uh-huh.
Um, but really, honestly, all the wealth and luxury that Ronald, who was called Big Ronnie, DeFeo Sr. showed, he really earned very little of it himself. He was also reportedly an abusive and violent man. Most often, he took his anger and frustration out on his eldest child, Ronald DeFeo Jr., who usually went by Butch. And as Butch grew up, he struggled to find any common ground with his father. So Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. was born on September 26th in 1951 in Brooklyn, New York. He was bullied at school for being overweight. Kids called him names like Pork Chop and the Blob. Kids are so fucking mean.
Especially the
Um,
70s, man.
yeah. By his teenage years, Butch had lost most of the weight, mainly through his use of amphetamines, which
Hmm.
he'd begun to rely on, along with alcohol as a coping mechanism. As he matured, he began lashing out against his father as well as a few friends. His family did become concerned and they took him to a psychiatrist, but the visits didn't sit well with Butch and denied he needed help. So the trips to the doctor stopped, and in their place, the DeFeos used incentives of cash and presents, including a $14,000 speedboat. Again, the 70s,
Uh-huh.
$14,000,
Yeah.
hoping that the gifts would placate their troubled son. Butch and his father continued fighting frequently. Butch once pulled a gun on Big Ronnie, and although Butch
Yes.
was technically employed at the family's dealership, he rarely showed up for work and left early when he did. In general, he spent most of his time doing drugs or drinking, getting into fights, and arguing with his parents. But even through all this, no one would expect him to lead to what happened later.
Yeah. That's crazy.
In 1974, Butch felt irritated by what he thought was a meager salary. He plotted for methods for embezzling money from the car dealership. So in late October, the dealership entrusted with depositing more than $20,000 to the bank. He planned a mock robbery with a friend, agreeing to split the money evenly with his accomplice, and the plan went off without a hitch until police dealership to question him. Instead of calmly answering their questions, Butch exploded into rage. And when police, suspicious that Butch was lying, asked him to come to the station to check out mugshot the possible suspects, he refused to comply. Ronald Sr. began suspecting that his son had committed the robbery, but when he questioned his son about his lack of cooperation with police, Butch threatened to kill his father. This ongoing conflict came to a violent head when he fatally shot Ronald Sr. with a 35 caliber Marlin rifle as he slept in the early hours of November 13th, 1974. Of course, as we said, he didn't just kill his father, he also turned his gun on his mother, Louise. He then went into the bedrooms where his siblings were sleeping and murdered 18-year-old Don, 13-year-old Allison, 12-year-old Mark, and 9-year-old John Matthew, all with the same weapon. All the murders took place within 15 minutes.
Good God.
Um, After killing his family, he took a shower, got dressed, and collected incriminating evidence, and then left for work. As he left, he threw the evidence, including the gun, into a storm drain and went about his day. He feigned ignorance as to why his father hadn't shown up for work as planned and even called him. And as the day went on, he decided to leave work and spend the afternoon with his friends, making sure to mention all of them that he couldn't get in touch with his family for some reason. And then he prepared for the discovery of the family bodies. In the early evening, Butch ran to a nearby bar screaming for help. He told patrons that someone had shot his family and begged them to come back with him to his house. There, people were shocked and greeted with the horrific scene. They saw each member of the DeFeo family lying face down in bed with fatal bullet wounds. Both Ronald Sr. and Louise had been shot twice, and their children had been shot one time each. Um,
Holy
according,
crap.
yeah, According to History.com, police arrived at the scene and found an in-shock Ronald Jr. waiting for them. Butch initially claimed to the authorities he believed his family had been targeted by the mob. He told them that believed mafia hitman Louis Fellini may have been responsible. And at first, the cops were buying this. They took him to the police station for protection, but they soon started to notice that the details were not all lining up. For example, Butch maintained that he had been at work all morning and with friends all afternoon, so he couldn't have killed his family. But police quickly determined that the bodies had been shot sometime in the morning, well before Butch would have gone to work. Police carefully searched the home, and at that point, Butch's testimony began to crumble. They found an empty box for a recently purchased 35 caliber Marlin gun in Butch's room, and this gave the authorities pause. When they questioned Butch about the new evidence, he began changing his story. He said that Fellini had appeared in the house early that morning and put a revolver to Butch's head. He then said that Fellini and an accomplice dragged him from room to room as they murdered his family. And after Butch mentioned this hitman who could have killed his family, police found out very soon that that hitman was actually out of state at the time.
Uh,
So by the next day, Ronald DeFeo Jr. confessed to the crime. He told police, quote, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast." His criminal trial in October 1975 captured attention for two reasons: the sheer brutality of the crime and the unusual details surrounding the defense. Because his lawyer built the case claiming that he was an insane man who killed his family in self-defense because of demonic voices in his head. The psychiatrist for the defense, Dr. Daniel Schwartz, supported the claim, saying that DeFeo was neurotic and suffered from dissociative disorder. But the psychiatrist for the prosecution, Dr. Harold Zolan, proved that Butch suffered from antisocial personality disorder, and the illness made him aware of his actions, but motivated by his self-centered attitude. Ultimately, Butch was found guilty of 6 counts of sixth-degree murder in November. He would later be sentenced to 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life in prison, but that's not where this story ends. There's still mysteries surrounding the case. Authorities still have no idea how all 6 victims died in their sleep without a struggle. Another thing that puzzled them and that none of the neighbors had heard the gunshots, despite the fact that Butch did not use any kind of silencer or suppression device. Um, Butch claimed he drugged the family's dinner, but experts noted that a long time had passed between the meals and the family's death. So, not sure how likely that is. And really, kind of the most chilling one is his motive remains uncertain.
Hmm.
It's clear that Bush had many issues with his father,
Yeah, kill the
but
dad. Why kill everybody else?
exactly, why go to
Yeah.
the rest of the family members, especially the younger siblings?
Mhm.
Um, and honestly, considering that he changed his story multiple times in prison, it's really shed very little light
Yeah,
on
you're
what's
never
been
going
a
to know the
haunting
real
mystery.
motive. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Well, in December of 1975, a new family moved into the DeFeo's old home. George and Kathy Lutz bought the house for what was considered to be a bargain price of $80,000.
Yeah, because a whole bunch of murders happened into it. In it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so it was a Dutch colonial style house, had a distinctive gambrel roof, had the swimming
Yeah,
pool in the boathouse. It was
didn't
located on a
have
canal.
the 2 windows that it's famous for weren't added until the film. Those weren't
Correct,
there. Yeah, the
correct,
eyebrow
correct.
windows. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Yeah, that was added to make it more scary.
Hmm. Because they used the
Uh,
actual house for the film.
yeah. George and Kathy were married in July of 75. They each had their own homes, but they wanted to start fresh with a new property. Kathy had 3 children from a previous marriage: Daniel, who was 9, Christopher 7, and Melissa, who was 5. And they also had a crossbreed Malamute Labrador named Harry. During their first inspection of the house, the real estate agent did tell them about the murders and asked if it would affect their decision. But after they discussed it, they decided it wasn't a problem. They ended up
Yeah, and my first
staying.
question would be like, is there blood in the carpet? No. Well,
Yeah. Well,
sign me up.
they only stayed at the residence for 28 days before fleeing the property in terror, claiming the house was haunted by the spirits of the deceased DeFeos.
Yeah.
There was reportedly green slime coming from the walls to windows that were suddenly shattering, to family members allegedly levitating in bed. All this sounds like straight out of a horror film. They said they were immediately besieged by dreadful apparitions, bubbling green slime, red-eyed pig heads, levitating beds, and sinister cries to get out.
Yeah.
That's the
Get
original.
out.
Oh,
Get out.
The old Eddie Murphy script. Oh, too bad we can't stay. We got to go. Um, so they claimed doors would open and shut and slam at all hours. There was a persistent coldness in the house despite roaring fires in the fireplace. Supposedly, one night, Kathy transformed into a 90-year-old woman, and on their final night in the home, doors slammed all night, lights were flickering, and there was an unseen presence lurking in the Lutz's room. And one thing I didn't have in here that I know also happened is they claimed that there was an unusual amount of flies in the house,
Yeah.
which they did put that in the movies as well. So the Lutzes, terrified and exhausted, they couldn't take it anymore. And on January 14th, 1976, they left every possession they had behind at 112 Ocean Avenue, never to return again.
Yeah. And honestly, until the movie came out, those people were kind of financially ruined by that.
Yes, yes, they absolutely were. It would be just a couple years later in 1977 when author Jay Anson published a novel titled The Amityville Horror, based on the Lutz's family claims of paranormal activity in the house. This was investigated by famed, and I'll say it, controversial ghost hunters Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Hmm.
In 1979, a movie of the same name was released to the delight of horror fans, some who actively sought out the real Amityville horror house in search of paranormal activity. Incredibly, there have been dozens of films based on the murders released since then, but the 1979 movie starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder as George and Kathy Lutz remains probably the best known one.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
I
Yeah, but
think they did a
James Brolin
re-release.
and Margot Kidder are so fucking good in
Oh, I
this.
know. It's awesome. I think they did a redo of it, didn't they?
Yeah,
Did they
yeah, a
do a
few years ago.
recent
It
one?
just it wasn't as good.
Yeah. The
With
original one is great.
yeah, with oh, what's his name? Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to check that out.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it was Ryan
honestly,
Reynolds. Yeah.
honestly, while the movie is great, I personally would urge you to read the book. The book is phenomenal. I
Hmm.
would absolutely read the book. I read it many, many years ago, and it was great. Um, meanwhile, Butch DeFeo made multiple attempts to free himself.
Did the Lutz so after the film, the Lutzes did recover financially, correct? Eventually?
I don't know. I know they received money for the story,
Yeah.
and
Because
when it
it
went to
ruined
Hollywood,
them financially.
it absolutely did. It
Yeah.
absolutely did because they left everything behind.
It would not go back.
No, no, they absolutely wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know if they did or not. Like I said, I know they got money from the book, and I believe they got some money from the movie as well. Um, but Butch DeFeo made multiple attempts to free himself. He grew very resentful of the attention he received in prison. He continually changed the story of what happened during the Amityville murders, at certain points claiming that his mother or sister had committed some of the killings. He
Hmm.
did remain in prison until the day he died at age 69 in 2021. And he once said, quote, I guess the Amityville horror really is supposed to be me because I'm the one that got convicted of killing my family. I'm the one they say who did it. I'm the one that's supposedly to be possessed by the devil. And that's the story of the real life Amityville horror.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you,
Uh,
sir.
that's another one I've known about for years.
Hmm.
Like I said, I read the book. I've studied the real life deal behind it. It is 100% true that the DeFeos were murdered in the home. Can I say 100% that it was Ronald DeFeo Jr.? No, of course, because I wasn't there. He
Hmm.
was convicted of it.
Yeah. He
But
bought the gun that did it.
he bought the gun that did it. There's probably about a 99.9999999% probability that he did it. Um, but the house did have real life murders. The Lutzes claim that it was haunted and saw something
Yeah.
which made them run in terror,
Which is
leaving
weird because
everything
like the
behind.
family that moved in right after them lived there for years, and they're like, "This house is great."
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
The way that the book and the movie portray it is that George Lutz resembled Ronald DeFeo Jr.
Yeah.
You see this in the movie, and it's in the book as well. And so, there was the thought behind that. As I said, the Warrens investigated this, and the Warrens are very controversial in their own right.
Yeah.
If you don't know who the Warrens are, go watch The Conjuring, Annabelle, Conjuring 2.
Yeah, that's them.
It's all about the Warrens.
Yeah.
They were because I believe that the husband, I think, is now dead.
Yeah.
I
One of
think
them is.
one of
Yeah,
them
but
one
they're
of them is
they're
passed.
well on up with her because this is all going on in the late 70s and they were in their
Yeah,
30s.
yeah. I think the husband is has passed. I think the wife is still alive. But yeah, I mean there were real life events that happened in this horror house. And I don't know. To me, it was very fitting for us to do on Halloween
It
week.
screams Halloween. Yeah, the reason I did Modiphius is because they had the Octoon Cthulhu
Yeah,
game.
that's awesome. All right, that will take us to the end of another recording week. As always, you can find us on nerderymurdery.com. That's our hub. That's everything you'll find out about us. You'll find links to this episode, pictures from the episode, as well as our YouTube page, which Zig so often updates.
Yeah, definitely check this one out. There is uh, a YouTube celebrity, kind of sort of a video game expert called the Three-Eyed Townie, where he actually breaks down how to use the 2D20 skill tests and how they work. Uh, there's three separate videos. They're all like 5 minutes apiece. Check those out because you could really, he explains how the system works. Specifically for Fallout, it is different for some of the other games, but it is a base system on how it works. And also some videos on some of the stuff that Modiphius is releasing and how pretty and beautiful that stuff is.
Awesome. Appreciate all your work on that.
Thanks, sir.
You
Big
can
shout
also
out to Three Eyed Townie too, because he's fucking great at this stuff.
you can also find the link to our merchandise page, or if you wish to show off your nerdery murdery fandom, please do consider purchasing something from there. You'll also find the link to our Patreon, where if you wish to become a patron, our the donation from our patrons plus our merchandise do go to the costs that are associated with this show. It does cost to keep us on the air for our uploads, our website, and everything that goes into this. We do appreciate each and every one of you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. One other thing you can do that is completely free and only takes a couple minutes is please leave a 5-star review wherever you can. It really helps us and helps others find our content that may be looking for the information we discuss. And last but certainly not least, time to go to sleep now, Chuck.
Good night, Chuck.
Good night, Chuck. With that,
I have been Zig with your nerdery.
and I'm Jeffrey with your murdering.
Cue the music.